Season 2, FC Wonderkid, episode 17 here with my great friend Luca, that I think is going to be one of the best episodes of the season. How are you feeling, my guy?
I'm doing very well, Alex, on a high, especially after yesterday's victory, which we'll talk about. I'm very happy to be here talking about football again, and we're going to go bold as we always do.
Oh, and in this episode, we're going to talk Champions League, we'll talk the Manchester rivalry, and obviously Calcio football. That, yes, Calcio Serie is the most exciting league to watch, because who's going to win it? Is it Atalanta? Is it Inter de Milan? Is it Juventus that is still unbeaten but 13 draws? It's a bold statement currently, and I think even a Seju Conceição finishing in Champions League spots can happen, but not winning the league this season. So, Luca, how are you feeling with Calcio and beating 2-0 AC Milan after the Supercoppa game?
Look, this Serie A season, as we said before, Alex, is arguably the most, competitive Serie A season in the last decade or so. It has been up and down, different teams in first, different teams in fourth. The league is constantly changing. There's a big race, not only for the Scudetto, but for European spots. And there's some teams that are overperforming, for sure. Look at Bologna, for example. We did not think that they'd keep up the form from that they had last season with Thiago Motta, but Italiano's doing a better job than Thiago Motta, because he has 33 points compared to Motta's 32 this time last season. So there's a lot of good stuff going on in Serie A. And of course, as you guys know, I'm a big Juventus fan, and yesterday we obviously defeated one of our biggest rivals in AC Milan, getting that 2-0 victory, which is very, very important to us, because AC Milan were on our tails a little bit. They could have really closed the gap had they won that match. So we separated it a little bit, and now we're in fourth place. As of now, as of this recording, Lazio still have to play, I think, Verona today, but they're still yet to play. So if Lazio do win, they go above us. However, I'm very happy with that win after several draws, 13 in the league to be precise. We needed that 3 points, and we finally got it in a big game.
And it's the first time in the history of Serie A that currently Juventus has 4 clean sheets in a row against AC Milan. So in terms of Serie A, Juventus against AC Milan, I'm sure, Luca, you're extremely happy. And with Thiago Motta, yes, 13 draws, that's happening. That's the consequence, I believe, because the whole locker room still doesn't back his idea. Maybe, I don't want to take those assumptions, but one thing's for sure. Thiago Motta, at the start at Juventus, you can see it, Mbangula, you can see it, Chico Conceição, Locatelli Capitano much better, Kalulu, Kenan Yildiz, the star boy. You can see players improving a lot, and I cannot wait when others, like maybe Colomani, that is going to come, Giantoli has confirmed, on loan for the rest of the season, they can have an impact, and even Alberto Costa. Alberto Costa going to Juventus shows that Juventus knows the Portuguese market, and having Chico Conceição, having Alberto Costa, pursuing Antonio Silva, but I'm happy that Antonio Silva stays, because he'll develop more at Benfica. Juventus are doing the good deals here in Portugal, mate. Just wanted to mention that, and fastly too, for the US fans, Weston McKennie's adaptability, mate. This is one of the most underrated players in Serie A and maybe in European football. Because he's American, he doesn't have tactical intelligence. That is nonsense, because he's played right back, he's played left back, he's played midfielder, attacking mid. I've seen him play winger. He plays where he has to play for the team. So Weston McKennie has to be congratulated, and he's going to be a manager when he ends his career as a player. He's got the whole thing, I think. He's only the confidence. Let's see. But yes, with Juventus, who's the player that you're the most happy, Luca, until now this season?
It's hard to say just one, Alex, because I feel like in different periods and different stages of the season, different players have stepped up. Of course, like you mentioned, Weston McKennie, I have to give a big shout out to him, because he's played in every single position under the sun. You know, we've seen him play left back, we've seen him play right back, we've seen him play in the double pivot, the 10, on the right, on the left. We've seen him literally play everywhere apart from centre half. But even then, if I saw a start 11, you know, Kalulu next to McKennie at the back, I know McKennie's going to put a 7 out of 10 performance, and he's been absolutely phenomenal. And every single season, there's always rumours just before the season that McKennie's forced out of Juventus or they want to sell him. But every year, McKennie just performs better and better and improves season upon season, and it shows that resilience. And I think maybe could be a bit of an unpopular opinion, but right now I do think we lack leaders in the squad. True. Especially with the way, Danilo was treated, and now he's going to leave the club. We don't have an official captain.
Center backs. It's crazy not to think of a Juventus with a center back leader at the back. Like a
It
Bonucci,
is.
Chiellini, so many
It
years.
really is. I think Gatti could be that, but I think he needs a little bit of time. I'd probably say in terms of like my top three favourites for the Juventus captaincy, it would actually be Locatelli, who's the current captain, Gatti, and McKennie actually, because McKennie's been at the club for a long time, and I think he just knows what it means to play for the badge, you know. And
No
that's
more
what us
Andrea
Juventus fans love.
Cambiaso. No more Andrea Cambiaso.
Cambiaso, I love Cambiaso. I hope he stays at the club, but I wouldn't have him as a captain over McKennie, to be honest. I just think McKennie deserves more respect in that regard. But of course, player of the season, it's hard to pick one, Alex, because so many players have been good. And Bangula, when he's played, has been really good. Of course, Kenan Yildiz, who has ridiculous amounts of talent and can win us a game by himself. Locatelli's been one of our most consistent performers. Kalulu's been absolutely incredible for us. Cambiaso, specifically before his injury, was absolutely phenomenal for us.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he gets a lot of hate. For me, I'm a big fan of him. Dusan Vlahovic with his goals. I mean, top scorer in Italy throughout the 2024 calendar year.
But
it's
isn't
hard to
it
pick one.
frustrating? It's always every transfer window I see Vlahovic to this team, to this team, to this team. As a Juventus fan, like for me personally, I think he should say, honestly, I need to be the best striker at Juventus and have more goals scored than Cristiano Ronaldo did. Okay, if Vlahovic wants to be a proper legend at Juventus, he needs to have those ambitions. And I almost feel like his agent is working too much. I'm sorry to say it, like it's and Juventus, I think they hold themselves to a degree that they respect and they want to be a Champions League winning team. You know what I mean? And so let's see. Interesting enough, who do you think Juventus is going to sign into the transfer market? Because now we see Kvišek Kvaratskhelia leaving to PSG. We'll talk more ahead. But who do you think Juventus now with Alberto Costa coming? Any more players?
Yeah, of course we signed Alberto Costa. As in that right back role, we signed Kolomuani on the loan deal as a backup striker, which we really needed because Vlahovic has had some injury problems this season, and when Dusan is out of the squad, our only other striker option is Milik, who's been out for almost a year now. So we have no idea when he's going to return. So we had no other number 9 option. We were playing Gonzalez up front and Bangula, Yildiz, but they're not out and out strikers, so we definitely struggled. So having Muani there as a backup option is good.
True.
It is a good option. Look, I think it really depends, Alex, if we sell Cambiaso or not. I think if we sell Cambiaso, we'll definitely try and bring in a replacement. I've read rumours about Nuno Tavares, who, for me, I actually really like Nuno Tavares. I think this season he's been one of the best fullbacks in Serie A. Of course, got a lot of assists. Yeah.
Sister in Serie A.
That's what I was going to say. The assist has been a vital part in his game. And offensively, he's very
and Nuno
good.
Tavares didn't work out at Arsenal, but look at Lazio. Look at Lazio.
And I always thought Tavares in the Premier League, look, defensively, he had his issues. But offensively, I always saw that potential. He just needed to work on his defensive side of the game. But we're also linked to Hansko, of course. But I think these sort of deals really depend on whether we sell Cambiaso or not, to be honest, Alex. I feel like if we don't sell Cambiaso, I don't really see us bringing in another, well, at least a big name signing for a lot of money.
And I don't believe that other teams at AC Milan are thinking like that in Serie A, sorry. And I hinted myself by saying AC Milan, yes. AC Milan are going to have a rebuild with Sergio Conceição. Yes, they won the Supercopa in extraordinary fashion with 2 remontadas. That showed the brilliance of Sergio Conceição, that early motivation, that immediate reaction, because they would be scared of losing a game with that man, okay? That's the feeling that he gets. But he still doesn't have his players. And one clear thing that I noticed with AC Milan and Sergio Conceição is the lack of finishers. They're going to score 20 to 30 goals in Serie A. It's extremely difficult, I know, because you have great defenses in Serie A, and that's why it's one of the best leagues in the world, no doubt. But Okafor now is leaving. Morata, I don't think he's going to be a better striker than Lukaku or Lookman. Then you have Luka Jovic that his best times were at Frankfurt, okay? So, and Camarda is way too young. Way too young. So, and Tammy Abraham is also a player that I do not have the expectations to be as good as Lukaku and also Retegui. So it's obvious to me. Even an Inter de Milan currently have a better striker and substitute striker than AC Milan, in my opinion. Taremi, Lautaro, Marcus Thuram, for me, are all better players and would start for AC Milan with Sergio Conceição. So this has to be fixed. The rebuild is extremely real, but AC Milan fans going on a positive. I don't want to go unhinged badly. You have Theo Hernandez, Mike Magnan, Tijani Reinders, Rafael Leão. You can have one of the best teams in the world. You have the backbone. It's the signings that are now going to come with Sérgio Conceição. He needs the backing and the investment with Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So trust Conceição and trust the players that he doesn't want to stay at AC Milan. Am I right here, Luca?
Yeah, definitely, Alex. I think Conceição was a really, really good appointment, and I probably think he should have been their original appointment in the summer instead of Fonseca anyway. Look, Fonseca had his moments for Milan, obviously defeating Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, winning the derby. He had his moments, but overall he wasn't. He didn't have a good time at Milan.
That was Leão. Leão went crazy in that game against Real Madrid.
Of course. Like I also want to point out that he dropped Leão and Theo Hernandez for periods of times this season. And look, actually, I spoke to a lot of Milan fans, and surprisingly enough, Rafa Leão, I would say, is more loved by opposition fans and non-Milan fans than Milan fans themselves. Because genuinely, a lot of Milan fans were quite happy with Fonseca dropping them because it showed balls, it showed, a sort of mindset that they hadn't had at the club before, which is interesting to note from their perspective. However, look, Conceição, he's a very good coach, he's a winner, he has the right mindset, and I think he's the type of guy in the locker room that would say as it is, motivate the players with his experience. A different kind of manager to say Thiago Motta or Mikel Arteta, maybe a younger manager who have different philosophies and stuff. But I think he deserves time, of course, like you said, Alex. I think Zlatan is going to back him. He's going to invest money into the club, specifically, I think, in the summer. Look, this window, I can't see Milan making any real big name signings.
I love it.
But Conceição, great appointment. In terms of their strikers, Alex, like you said, Okafor, he's going to leave. Tammy Abrahams, look, he obviously scored the winner in the Supercoppa final, but this season he's not been good for Milan. You can't rely on Tammy Abraham to bag even 10 league goals really in Serie A. Then you got Morata, who has a lot of injury problems. I'm a big fan of Morata, but he has a lot of injury problems. Camarda's probably their best bet, but the guy is 16 years old. He's gonna. You got at a club like AC Milan, you can't rely on a 16-year-old to score you the most amount of goals in your club, and that's going to take time for Camarda to gel and play consistently in Serie A. But look, yesterday, I think Camarda in his 10-odd minute spell he had against us was more effective than Tammy Abraham for the whole game. So I think the potential's there. He just needs more time, and I'm sure he's going to be a great player in the future. And look, he's going to be great for the national team as well for us. But look, Milan, they're I would say they're a few years away from challenging again for the Scudetto. I think their board also makes some silly decisions, like as do ours, to be fair. But like losing Kalulu, for example, who yesterday was just a warrior on the pitch for them.
Maybe Tomori. And maybe
Tomori
Tomori.
as well. They could lose.
I see Juventus and Luca Di Marzio.
I see us lurking around for Tomori. He's not my first choice, if I have to be honest with you, Alex. But he's
Scalvini.
No, my first choice is. I don't think you'll be able to guess it, to be honest. He's a good centre back. You'll know him. And but he's like, I have him like in the summer. Everyone keeps asking me, but Luca, you want a Hansko, you want this guy, you want tomorrow. I said, no. I don't want to send it back in January. I want to go in the summer, and this word might make you guess it. I want to make amends. No, I want to make amends. I want to apologize to this player and make amends. We lost him. We sold him. Dean Huijsen, yeah.
I guessed it.
You guessed it, exactly.
Mate, that's a great pick, mate. That's a great, because Dean Huijsen, he knows the Serie A, being at Roma, Juventus, and the talent that he has, and he's showing at Bournemouth. Boy, oh boy, him and Kubarsi, that's going to be insane for Spain in the next few years. And just want to hint before we go off on that one too, the Rafael Leão. And I want to back those Milan fans too. Because me, myself, I know Rafael Leão can do better. And I'm sure Rafael Leão in his mind knows he has to do better to fight for the Ballon d'Ors. If you see the leaders in goal involvements in Serie A, you see Retegui, Lookman, Marcus Thuram, Lukaku with 14 goal involvements. I don't see Rafael Leão, a player that can score and can assist in leaders of goal involvements in Serie A. So he has to change, and he will change, because he can also be the best player in the Portuguese national team when he's in form. I just wanted to state that. The center back, that would be a great pick, mate. Great pick. I'm excited. I'm excited.
When we sold him, Alex, for 15 million euros, I have to say that was probably one of his top 3 worst decisions I think I've ever seen in my life by Juventus. So, like, I never understood it. I always thought Why would we do this? Of course, it's a straight profit on the books because he came in the next gen. But this guy had bags of potential. He was the exact kind of centre-back that we needed in Motta's system. You know, technical, ball playing, tall, offensive threat as well from corners. Like, can drive with the ball out from the back. He was just the perfect the Motta defender. So I never understood why we sold him. And now we're looking for a defender with that profile. I'm saying, look, we messed up. Sometimes in life you have to hold your hands up and say you messed up. Let's go back. Okay, we're going to have to spend 50, 60 odd million, but let's just invest big in him, you know. So
and he picked Juventus in the past. Why not again? Okay, and now being the star player with star salary, right?
Of course, it's going to be hard because Alex, we all know the biggest clubs are going to want to come after him: the Madrids, the Barcelonas, the Liverpool. So he's going to have all the choices in the world. We have to try and just convince the guy that he needs to come back to us. It's not going to be easy, but look, that would be my main choice. Let's say I would be talking to the player now. For example, I'd be making moves right now.
And I completely understand because I'm sure his manager also, I'm sure someone is also thinking of making moves to that man because he ended the 9 consecutive Newcastle wins, okay, and Bournemouth is 11 games unbeaten currently, and it happens because of Iraola that beats 2-0 Arteta, 2-1 Guardiola, 3-0 Ruben Amorim, that hurts me to say, and 4-1 now Eddie Howe. Iraola ball with Dinho Oysen and Milos Kerkez balling out. We'll talk more ahead. But just last things on Serie A, we cannot go here without talking about the leaders, okay? We mentioned Lazio a bit. We mentioned AC Milan, Inter also, but Napoli. What is happening at Napoli? Because Victor Osimhen leaves, Kvisha Kvaratskhelia leaves, Min-Jae Kim leaves, the icons of the winning Scudetto team, and now Conte, he wants to win that Scudetto once again. Does he have the team to win it? Will David Neres make it happen with Napoli? How are you feeling, Luca? Because Napoli, they're going bold.
I feel hurt, Alex, obviously. I don't like Napoli. I don't like them at all. Like, I don't like Inter and AC Milan. So when I see these teams above
You're bored in Napoli? You're a Napoli fan.
So, when I see these teams above Juventus fighting for the Scudetto, and actually, funnily enough, all my, majority of my Italian friends are Napoli fans. So, whenever I see them, around, they always, they give me a little bit of a stick every now and again, saying, "Oh, but how's Juventus doing?" And I can't really say anything because they are doing better than us in the league this season. But look, Napoli, they're a very strong team this season, Alex. And look, last season they struggled a lot. I would say mostly due to their managerial decisions. They made a lot of different changes throughout the year. Of course, they lost Kim Min-Jae. Osimhen had a lot of injury problems and was in and out of the squad, but it was more the manager. And the reason why they're doing so well this season is it's not rocket science, really. It's not the footballers turning up. It's Antonio Conte. We all know this. This is no new game almost. We saw what Conte did with Juventus, building up that the most dominant dynasty in Italian football history. We saw what he did, even with the Italian national team in 2016 Euros, with the players he had, the likes of Eder, Pelé, Giaccherini. These aren't big names, but he knocked out Spain, who were European champions at the time.
Top team.
Top team. He beat Belgium, who were ranked number 1 at the time. He almost narrowly beat Germany, losing on penalties, who were world champions at the time, with players that weren't world-class or elite by any stretch of imagination. Then he comes to Chelsea in the Premier League in his first season, after Chelsea finished mid-table with Mourinho in the 15-16 season. He wins them the league straight away. He then goes to Inter, unfortunately ends Juventus' dynasty that he built up himself. And he didn't win at Tottenham, but nobody wins at Tottenham. That's a bit of an anomaly, isn't it?
No good manager succeeds at Tottenham.
No one can save them, unfortunately, for their fans. But look, this season, he's on course to win the league with Napoli in his very first season. And I have to say, this guy is, I've said it before and I say it again, unpopular opinion, but he is the great. Well, I don't know if it's unpopular, but he is the best Serie A manager in the history of the game, in my opinion. I think he's the best.
Bold.
Serie A alone, just think about what he won domestically.
Ancelotti.
But he won more than, in my opinion, he won more than Ancelotti, and what he built up in the league is more relevant than what he did with Ancelotti, in my opinion.
And also, that's bold. I like it. Gasperini, if he wins the Champions League with Atalanta, imagine the era.
Yeah. Look, Gasperini is a great coach, but he lacks. Of course, he won the Europa League, but he hasn't won a league title with Atalanta either. But obviously, he was great with Genoa as well, Gasperini, and he took them to top 4. Look, in the Serie A, there's a lot of options. But for me, I look at Antonio Conte. Juventus finished back-to-back 7th place. They were basically destroyed after Calciopoli. He comes in, he wins the league in his first season, going unbeaten. He didn't lose a single game. Then he won 3 leagues back-to-back, building up the foundations for Allegri's Juventus that then went to different levels. But he built the foundations. He brought in Pogba, he brought in Vidal, Pirlo on a free, these players. And in his third season, in the 13-14 season, Alex, he won the league. But he didn't just win the league, he won it with 102 points. On paper, statistically, the greatest team ever in the top 5 leagues because no team has got more points than that. And in that season, Juventus won every single match at home. They won every home game. That is arguably the most, not arguably, statistically. I'm not saying it is the best team I've seen in my life, but statistically it's the best team ever in the top 5 leagues. And then he goes to Inter in the league, destroys Juventus' dominance that he built up, building the foundations for Inzaghi's Inter, which is now on a different level, like Allegri's Juventus was. And this is what I'm saying. And now, if he wins the league with Napoli, I just think for context reasons, it's hard to argue against him. The only thing that Antonio Conte lacks is European success. In Europe, with his teams, he's never performed with Juventus, with Chelsea, with Inter, also losing the Europa League final. He's never really performed. But I think domestically, he's one of the best coaches.
That's something that at Napoli, it could change. My thing too, it's like, I think Conte arrives at Napoli. He says, Osimhen, it's not going to work out. So he brings in Lukaku. He knows Kvaratskhelia he might leave. He gets David Neres. And the players at Napoli too, Alessandro Buongiorno. You have also Lobotka that's having a great season. Anguissa. Underrated player, Anguissa, okay, for the way he's playing. I watched that game against Atalanta yesterday. Big win from Napoli against Atalanta. At home, Atalanta that's playing phenomenal football. Huge statement. Antonio Conte wins that game. And Kvaratskhelia leaves Napoli because of his salary, too. I think you agree, Luca. Of course, he was the 16th, okay, in terms of the ranking of best salaries in Napoli. 16th, the player with most goal involvements in Serie A since he's arrived. Is it because he's Georgian? Is it because he's not Kvaratskhelia? I don't know. Because, honestly, going to PSG and now getting the bag, let's see what's going to happen, because that's also very exciting. So, bold statement of the Serie A. The best manager in Serie A ever. I love that statement. I love that statement.
We also got to big up Alex. We have to big up McTominay because what he's doing this season with Napoli is super impressive, man. Like, in terms of, like, if we're talking about the best midfielders in the league, of course you're going to mention the Barellas, the Çalhanoğlu's, the Reinders of this world. Of course, Ederson from Atalanta.
Locatelli.
Look, okay, maybe I'll throw him in there. But look, McTominay this season has been phenomenal with Antonio Conte. I think he is the perfect Conte player. He's a box-to-box man. He works so hard on and off the ball. He's strong physically. He gets the odd goals. He reminds me of Vidal, but not at the same level of Vidal in terms of technically and as physically imposing. Maybe he's not as good as Vidal, but he's a level below Vidal, but still effective. If that makes sense.
Got you.
Like similar,
I got you.
Profile.
McTominay to Barcelona one day. That would be insane. No, but I understand what you mean. I understand. With the intensity too, he's really ruthless on duels too. But I wanted to ask you mentioned McTominay. This is the best way of ending this. Will Rashford go to Serie A? Because Scott McTominay went to Serie A, and look what's happened. Man United seems to have been the issue, not Scott McTominay. Will Rashford do the same?
Well, some of my Napoli friends want Marcus Rashford at the club. And look, at the minute, it makes sense, Alex, because they've just lost Kvaratskhelia, look, Neres, of course, has been fantastic this season, but Kvaratskhelia, on paper, was their best player, their best winger. So filling him in with Rashford would be a good substitute. Look, Rashford, in my opinion, he has bags of potential. As a footballer, I look at him as a player profile, physically strong, super quick, two-footed, skillful. You look at Rashford, and if you're just looking at his ability alone, he has the potential to be one of the best players in the world, and we've seen that at Manchester United. And of course, I know he has problems off the pitch. He has a lot of injury problems. Will he reach that level again? doesn't defend, which could actually be a problem with Antonio Conte's system, having said that, to be fair. And Conte doesn't take any prisoners, so his mindset he might struggle a bit. But at the same time, Conte could also get the best out of him and motivate him to a level that he's never seen. So it's really, the coin's two-sided for a reason. But then I look at it, he could potentially go to Milan. I've seen the links. I think AC Milan don't need him as much as Napoli just because they have so many wingers like Leao, like Pulisic that are so good right now. Rashford wouldn't find a space in the team. Maybe up front, though. Rashford could play striker in AC Milan system. Obviously, we know he's the best out wide, but I'd probably take him over Abraham up front. I mean, I've seen a few links with Juventus. I mean, we got so many wingers. I really couldn't see it happening. No,
I wouldn't like
the only thing
Como?
is
Fabregas.
Hey, Como.
Fabregas. Asana Diao. Nico Paz.
Dele Alli and Rashford linking up there again. But look, the biggest problem with Rashford is his wage as well, Alex. Like he would have to chop his wage at least in half if he wants to play in Serie A, because
300k a week.
It's
currently
too much, man. Yeah, it's way too much.
And that's why Man United has to chop the block with the majority. Thank you, Serie A. We went bold. Is it the most exciting league in the world? You agree with us? Like this video and
right
also
now,
tell us who will win down below. Luca went crazy here. And yes, you're mentioning it. The main issue at Manchester United is the salary structure, and the battle for Manchester is real because it looks like the charges will not have as big of an effect as because Haaland believes it won't. Haaland just signed a 9-year deal with Man City. Haaland is now going to earn close to 1 million per week at Man City. He's going to stay there in the next 2-3 years, most likely. So how are we feeling here with the Battle of Manchester? And at the start of this video, comment down below, will Manchester City or Man United win the Premier League next season? Let's see. So, Luca, how are you feeling for this Manchester derbies coming ahead?
Look, the thing is, Alex, right, is this, I genuinely thought City would receive a bad punishment. I thought it was going to be a point deduction, a heavy one almost, that wouldn't necessarily relegate them straight away in the Premier League. No, I'm not saying they'd send them straight away to the Championship, but like
100 points.
Yeah, like, not 100 points. But a big chunk that would actually
like 40.
Force, yeah, something like 20, 30, 40. A big chunk that would, well, arguably set them to be relegated or just escape relegation.
Could happen.
It could happen. But I think right now, Alex, signing Haaland also, by the way, they signed him, to be precise, on a 115-month deal. That's just taking the mick, isn't it? 115 charges, 115 months. They know what they're doing, these guys. These guys are taking the mick.
The numerology guys in football must be going nuts. The conspiracies.
That was good banter, to be fair, from City. Whoever came up with that was a good one. I reckon it was Haaland. But look, signing Haaland on a 9.5-year deal, buying Marmoush for ridiculous sum, well, I don't know why they want to break my balls about Cambiaso, but they want to come in for Cambiaso as well. But these guys are making a statement right now, Alex. Like, we're here to stay. Nothing's happening to us. We're gonna rule. Well, monopoly-wise, we're gonna rule the Premier League again. And look, they're gonna be back for next season. There's no doubt about it. They're gonna make more signings in January, more signings in the summer. I expect nothing less from a club that's completely reliant on their money. They have been for the last 10 years. That's the only leverage they have when it comes to English football, the economic stability. So, look, in terms of Manchester derbies for the near future, Manchester United, the thing is with United, every now and again in a derby, they'll pull out a crazy result, a crazy performance. Because it's in their DNA. Yeah, it's in their DNA. But in terms of like dominance in English football and winning trophies, United needs... It's mad to say because they haven't won the Premier League since 2013, but they still need more time, which is because it's been a poorly ran club since Ferguson's left. And I think Amorim, we've spoken about it last time I was on there anyway. I think he's a really good coach. He just needs time. He needs players. He needs backing, and I'm sure it'll come good. But look, this City, at first I thought, signing Marmoush and Cambiaso, maybe it means there could be a transfer ban in the summer and they want to buy players now. But at the same time, I'm reading that it's only going to be fine for their charges. So I think they're going to get let off lightly. But I also have a little bit of a conspiracy theory. I'm not sure if I've spoken to you about this before, but I just believe strongly that the Premier League don't want to punish City severely just because of what happened with Juventus when Juventus got relegated and that destroyed the Serie A. Players didn't really want to come to the league anymore. well, economically, it crippled Italian football, and they haven't really recovered since, when at the time Italy was on top still. So I just think that, look, they saw what happened with Serie A. Are they going to destroy City, being one of their strongest assets with some of the biggest and most famous players in the world? Now, of course, they're one of the most followed teams in the Premier League with people watching it all over the world. Do they really want to ruin the credibility of the Premier League for it? And I'm not saying it's right, by the way. I'm not justifying it, because if a team
Guardiola, the greatest manager ever in the Premier League, staying there.
And that would tarnish his legacy as well completely.
Exactly.
I think there's more to it than on the surface, to be honest.
Very well said. Very well said. And now going with what you said, Luca, I think Man City, not because a ban is coming, personally. I think Manchester Pep Guardiola needs the locker room back. Players are going to leave 100%, and this is an immediate reaction of a team that has a new sporting director, Hugo Viana. Floor players might be coming in. Vitor Reis, great signing for Palmeiras. Kusanov, amazing in a setup of Pep Guardiola. And Omar Marmoush is the type of signing that says to all other players, you need to score more goals, okay? One of the leaders in goal involvements in Europe currently. The man is stating to Foden, to Kevin De Bruyne that is still there, to Bernard Silva that is still there, you need to score more goal involvements than me. And I'm skeptical if that will be the case. Omar Marmoush, what a signing in the season of 2022-2023. Omar Marmoush had 6 goals, 1 assist. Now in 23-24, 17 goals, 6 assists. And this season in 2024-2025, 20 goals, 13 assists. He's clearly proved. And now this is the type of deals that I'm going to be scared for the recent future, okay? Haaland now has another player that can score goals next to him, like Omar Marmoush, immediately. And it's not just Joško Gvardiol and Haaland saving with the goals in the last minute. That was becoming an issue currently. So Man City signing Vitor Reis, Kusanov, Omar Marmoush, and maybe Andrea Cambiaso. That's the statement that no one is safe in that locker room, and Man City will replace you if they have to. Only Haaland currently is untouchable, just like only Amad Diallo is untouchable with Ruben Amorim and Man United. So tell me if you agree.
No,
Walker, AC Milan, is he going to AC Milan?
It seems like it's concrete almost. And look, Milan, in all fairness to Walker, I do think he is a bit finished, but he's better than the options they have with Calabria and Emerson Royale, so he'd probably be a good signing for Milan. But look, it just kind of shows the revolution now, Alex. They're trying to replace Walker with Cambiaso. It shows that Pep's forward thinking. He's trying to rebuild his team. But look, that's another thing that we have to know. Pep, can he rebuild a team without financial backing? Something like Sir Alex Ferguson did on numerous occasions with Manchester United. Yeah, I think with Mourinho as well, of course. Like, I think Pep is a great coach, no doubt, one of the best managers of all time. But I think definitely the money helps him a lot, specifically.
And it's the academy players. It's the academy players. If we think of the legacy of Sir Alex Ferguson and Manchester United, it was the academy teams. Yes, he then bought a Van Persie later stages. He got Cristiano Ronaldo. He signed big players. But the academy players that grew, Gary Neville, Ryan Giggs, David Beckham, they will always be remembered, okay? And that's the thing with Pep Guardiola. The academy players of Man City, well, Foden stayed. Well, Rico Lewis stayed. But look at James Trafford now that has only 9 goals suffered in the championship. One of the best young keepers to sign. He could have stayed at Man City, maybe being loaned out, okay? Frimpong, also another player that can be shouted out. And obviously, the player that everyone is like, why didn't he stay at Man City? Yes, you stated it. Cole Palmer, okay? The second best player in the Premier League this season, in my opinion, only behind, well, we'll say that at the end of this video, okay? Of this podcast, okay? The best player in each league.
We're going to have to edit that bit out. You just don't get it right.
But you know what I mean, mate? So it's like the academy players, and I love what you're mentioning with that. But one thing is a fact, though, Luca, and it's one of the reasonings why Man City is a much better team than Man United. Not just the structure, the facilities, the players, it's the academy also. The Man City academy is producing more world-class players currently than Man United in the last 5 years, I'd say. Sancho, Cole Palmer, It's going to be insane, okay? Frimpong, that's now developing at Bayer Leverkusen, and Ruben Amorim has to fix it, and he fixed it how? With better facilities, Ruben, with better culture in the academy, and obviously giving this chance to Man United players to have the belief and being in the first team. I think there's a lot of academy products that will get first team opportunities real soon. But last, I want to say, Amad Diallo is the best player at Man United this season. Why? Because he completely believes in Ruben Amorim. This man was in his last year contract when Ruben Amorim arrives, and he did exactly what he had to do. What do I have to do, Ruben? Where do I have to play, Ruben? What do I have to improve, Ruben? You can see the emotion and the passion that he has and the respect that he has to Ruben. Straight in the interview, I can play everywhere, anywhere, everywhere for Ruben Amorim. He states this, the belief. And if a Manchester United is going to win the Premier League next season, it's very bold because there's a lot of signings that need to be done, especially wingbacks. It's with players manifesting and completely believing in Ruben Amorim. It would be a priority for me, Luca, that Man United signed Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth in January. Straight away. Adapt now, not adapt in the summer. The wingbacks have to be solved immediately because Manchester United at least must finish in European spots. Who's the player that you think has to go to Man United? Or do you... Ederson from Atalanta? There's a lot of speculation on that level too.
Ederson's a very good shout because Ederson is a player that, in my opinion, Juventus should have bought in the summer over Koop Miners. I preferred Ederson. I don't know. Obviously, Koop Miners, you looked at him at Atalanta, you saw the goal involvement.
But Thuram's playing good too. Thuram, Locatelli, Kenan Yildiz.
I respect Thuram, Locatelli. Yildiz is more advanced, but look, Thuram, Locatelli, they play in that same position as Ederson, but Ederson's a different level. You know, all respect to Locatelli and Thuram, they've had great seasons, but Ederson, the way he dictates the game, offensively he's good as well, gets the odd goal contribution. He is a really complete midfielder, and I think he would be a great asset to Manchester United in that midfield. But obviously, Man United have signed quite a lot of players from Atalanta in recent years, so they need to be careful of the price and the expectations. Højlund. Look, Amad Diallo has been the best one, of course, ex-Atalanta too. He's amazing. But Højlund, they got a bump for 70 million. They want to make sure they don't get charged, 90 million. Then Ederson turns out to be a flop as well. And there is a thing called Gasperini tax, by the way, guys. I just wanted you to know. This is a very real thing. Where
just like Frankfurt tax. Yeah, Frankfurt exactly. Haller, Luka Jovic.
Exactly, especially with their strikers. But whenever a player leaves Atalanta, straight away, they need to... Well, they fall off a little bit. And of course, people say, what about Kulusevski? What about, these kind of players? But Kulusevski went from Juventus to Tottenham, and now he's improved a lot.
But mate, I got this, you say that, just interesting enough, I think a Lookman would work with Ruben Amorim at that left forward. Milos Kerkez, Lookman.
I think Lookman is a good player. I really do. Really good player. But I think that if he went to Manchester United, Alex, I don't think he would get near as many goal involvements as he does at Atalanta. And of course, it's a different league as well, and different manager, different system and stuff, and he needs to adapt. But I just think, I've just seen it so many times. I'm watching Koop Miners this season. I'm slowly believing that Gasperini tax is just so rough.
What a shot that was. That moment he had a bit of space.
Yeah, he almost scored. But look, when I watch Koop Miners, Alex, I just see him and I see 60 million. I think, what could I have bought with 60 million? How many different properties could I have
Milos Kerkez. Maybe you could have Milos Kerkez one side, André Cambiaso on another. But it's that thing too.
But even then, Manchester United, why are Manchester United not in for Cambiaso? He would be fantastic for Manchester United. Cambiaso for me would get into every team in the world, but he would be a great asset, especially with the system they play. Cambiaso can play wing back, he can play full back, he inverts into the midfield. He's great. Also, maybe you could guys... I know Manchester, this is a bold take. Not a bold take, but a bold option. But Federico Di Marco from Inter. You slap down 60, 70, 80 million, you're making Inter think a little bit.
I think Bastoni, more of a priority for United.
Yeah, Bastoni would be... Because we're looking at Bastoni this season, top 3 centre-back in the world. Let's be honest, this season, he's there.
Completely. Imagine United with Bastoni, with De Ligt and Maguire, or Martinez too being an option, almost everything changes. And Mazrui obviously having a great season, and Bastoni would raise the value of the players around him. It would be insane. Bastoni, Milos Kerkez, left side, new left side with Ruben Amorim. This is the expectations, and this is a Manchester United that could go on and do a great performance in the Champions League, and that's what we grew up. Right, Luca? We grew up with a strong United, and that's what we have to see. So, people, let us know down below, who's Man City going to sign? Who's Man United going to sign? Your thoughts on the Haaland deal? It's crazy what's happening in Manchester. Now, really fast here, Champions League Game Week 7 predictions. This is exciting. And for the people that are going to put a bets, well, don't take us for 100% with all of these, but I can guarantee you we're better than the average bloke. We're better than the average bloke. Sure. So, AC Monaco against Aston Villa. How are we feeling here? Ollie Watkins scoring another goal?
You know, Ollie Watkins, John Duran, they got some big players in there that can get the odd goal. Also, I want to shout out Morgan Rogers, the OG. Cold celebration too. That guy. Oh, he's nice, Alex. He's nice with it. He's a very, very good player. Monaco have been good in the Champions League though this season. They've been very good in the Champions League. But who's at home, Monaco or Villa?
Monaco at home. They lost to Benfica at home.
Lost to Benfica. I reckon a draw here. I'm going to go with a draw. 1-1 maybe.
I'll go with Villa because I believe Villa are going to finish in the top 8 spot. It's bold, and I like the respect you're putting to Monaco. Now, Atalanta against the leaders of the Austrian league that is not Red Bull Salzburg. It's Sturm Graz. So, I think Atalanta's winning.
Yeah, of course. Atalanta here are going to win as well, Alex. I'm not sure by how many, but they'll get the win.
I tried to hype them up, Sturm Graz, but I couldn't. Sturm Graz fans, if you're listening, comment down below your support. Slovan Bratislava against Stuttgart, and I want to shout out Luca, Angelo Stiller. It's mad to me that Angelo Stiller is still at Stuttgart. I watched him for a full season now. Like, it's insane what he's doing at Stuttgart. One of the best CDMs in terms of vertical passes, the intelligence he has tactically. Angelo Stiller is an insane player that, remember the name, he's going to be leaving Stuttgart. So, Slovan against Stuttgart.
I got to go Stuttgart as well. They've been impressive this Champions League campaign. Of course, they beat Juventus as well, and they played really well against us. And I did not expect the performance that they put out. So, defensively, they're strong. On the counter, they're good. So, I'll go Stuttgart.
Maybe Denis Undav to Juventus. That could happen.
Potentially.
Liverpool, Lille. Lille that, look, people, they're unbeaten. 21 games in all competitions. This including beating Real Madrid and Atletico de Madrid in the Champions League. How are you feeling here in Anfield? And it's such an historical stadium. Liverpool, Lille.
Look, it's very hard for a team to go to Anfield in the Champions League and beat Liverpool. And especially this season, over any season, they're so strong, they're so dominant. I think they're the best team in the world. So I would still go Liverpool victory, but Lille are a very good team. Like you said, undefeated in 21. I saw the way they played against us as well. They made it extremely tough. We got the draw. I thought we could have even nicked that game, but in transition, they're devastating as well. Lille are very good teams. They're Grover. They got some really nice ballers in that team, but I'll have to go with Liverpool win.
Zergova that could go to Napoli. Some people are stating. And a better player, please, Jonathan David, one of the top goal scorers in Liga, and Jonathan David's going to be a free agent in the next 6 months. Who's going to sign Jonathan David? Comment on YouTube, okay? I think AC Milan, com Sérgio Conceição.
Maybe, he'd be a very good signing for Milan as well. On a free,
no Jovic, no Okafor, no Morato. No. It's Jonathan David, the Canadian being a solution. Yeah. I absolutely love it. And now Red Star PSV that has lots of good names, right?
I'd say PSV here.
Yeah, exactly. Saibari on the bench. Please pay attention to this Moroccan talent. Great player. And Luca that is scoring a lot of goals with Peter Bosch and Johan Bakayoko. Great team. I'll also go with PSV in this game. That drew with Sporting in the Champions League. And now, Club Rouge, Juventus. How are you feeling here, Luca, for this one?
I'm very nervous, Alex, because we got 2 tough games. We got Bruges and obviously Benfica, which is not going to be easy by any stretch of imagination. Yeah, so, but look, I think Juventus this season in the Champions League, I think we've been stronger than we have been in the league. Our performances that we put in. Of course, we've lost to Stuttgart. We're undefeated in the league, but we've also got a lot more victories. And the way we've played, I think, is just more impressive in the Champions League. I don't know, we turn up almost for the big occasion. So I'm going to back us to beat Club Brugge. We're away. It won't be easy, but after this Milan win, we'll be high with confidence. So Club Brugge, Juventus.
I'll go Juventus too, my guy Luca. Gotta believe in Motabol. Gotta believe in Motabol. And now, I'll go again, another team of Serie A, Bologna against Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund fans, don't think this is an easy game because Bologna is playing good football after the Thiago Motta leaving to Juventus.
This is one of the best games of the match week, in my opinion. Bologna just came off the bat of a big 3-1 victory. They're looking very good with Italiano. Orsolini's firing. They got some really good players. And of course, Dortmund are a very strong team. But I'm going to go with a draw here. Could be a bit of an unpopular take, but I reckon it will be a draw. Bologna, they've struggled a little bit in the Champions League this season. Of course they have, This is the first time they've played in the Champions League in donkey's years. But they're in good form. I'm going to back the Italian team to draw.
I'll go with Dortmund, but I do think you have to take into account what Lucas says, okay? Because I did say Dortmund are going to finish top 8, so I got to back this initial statement. But if I was doing just now, I'd obviously say Bologna. I think draw, that's a good bet, mate. So now, the most exciting game for me, Benfica against Barcelona. Benfica that won the Taça da Liga. Barcelona that did draw to Getafe 1-1, but Barcelona that has the best attacking trio in the world of football. I'll say if Benfica manages to draw against Barcelona, it will be historical because Benfica did beat Atletico 4-0, and if they have a massive result against Barcelona, it's with a masterclass of a wonder kid. Antonio Silva, Tomás Araújo, Álvaro Carreras, and the last name, Andreas Sheldrup, left winger. He is now here to stay at Benfica. Norwegian talent. Please remember the name Andreas Sheldrup in one-on-one situations. But yes, I'm going to go with a draw with a lot of bias here in the Benfica Barcelona.
Of course, you got back Benfica there, Alex. No one's blaming you, man. But I think Barcelona here. Of course, they drew to Getafe, but that massive victory in the Supercopa final against Real Madrid. There, the way, like you said, the front three is a joke. Lewandowski, Rafinha, who's arguably been the best player in Europe this season. Lamine Yamal, who's been arguably the best player in Europe as well this season. They're a super strong team. So I'll go Barcelona.
Ooh. And now the other fixture that I believe is one of must watch, Atletico de Madrid against Bayer Leverkusen, okay? Bayer Leverkusen that are 11 games in a row winning, okay? And Atletico that their 15-game winning streak did go away with Leganés that did beat also Barcelona in La Liga this season. So Atletico de Madrid, Bayer Leverkusen, how are we feeling here, Luca?
Both teams have been very strong recently. It's going to be a tough game. I reckon a draw. I'm going to go with a draw.
I'm going to go with Bayer Leverkusen because you know what's going to happen after this game if Leverkusen wins? Real Madrid fans going insane saying, this is our new manager, already beating Atletico de Madrid. I just can see it. So I'll go with Xabi Alonso ball going crazy against Simeone ball that is also having a good season. Comments. I really want to see the YouTube comments going crazy with this game because it's a doubt. Shakhtar Brest. Brest, that's 4 wins in 6 games in the Champions League. So, are they going to have a good result against Shakhtar Donetsk?
Yeah, I think they'll carry on their good form and win.
I'll go with a win also with Brest. And now here, RB Leipzig that has 0 points in the Champions League. I was surprised when I saw that against Sporting Club Portugal. I was almost going to say Sporting Lisbon, which is wrong. It's Sporting Club Portugal.
Look, Leipzig this season, Alex, I'm surprised how poorly they've been in Europe, to be honest. They got some big players, Sesko, obviously Xavi Simons, who's injured, but...
Came back now. Came back now. 3 goal involvements in 75 minutes.
Ooh, that could be a game changer. I thought he was still out injured. I'm going to back Leipzig to get a win here. Their first points in the Champions League.
Oh, man. I back Juventus. I'll go bold. I'll go bold and say Sporting to beat with Victor Gyökeres, showing to the world that he's the best goal scorer that Arsenal can get. But I hope they don't because I want to see this man in the Portuguese league as much as I can because what he's doing is historical. I'll say if I was going to put a bet, I'd put Sporting not losing. But I'm going to go bias here and say that Sporting wins this game. I'm warning the people. And now Sparta Prague against Inter de Milan.
Of course, Inter.
I'll go Inter also in this game.
Yeah, if people want to make some money, just bet on Inter.
Then you have Real Madrid, RB Salzburg. Obviously, Real Madrid, right?
Yeah, Madrid.
I was surprised when I saw Salzburg is 5th in the Austrian league. 5th! Oh my days. And then PSG Man City, a blockbuster game that we're going to have in this Champions League. Luis Enrique against Pep Guardiola.
Good game on paper, probably the biggest game, teams-wise, names-wise. I'll go with a Manchester City victory. PSG this season in the Champions League have been very, very underwhelming. But they signed Kavica Kvaratskhelia. Could be a little debut goal there and get the victory. That would be absolutely incredible scenes. But I will go with a City win.
I'll go PSG win. To go the opposite way. Kavica Kvaratskhelia, João Neves, Vitinha, Nuno Mendes. Come on, chill levels against Man City. But Erling Haaland has a new deal. Who knows? He could score a hat-trick in the Champions League. Because seemingly he does play very good football in the Champions League compared to the Prem.
Can Kvaratskhelia even play? Is he registered to play in the Champions League?
Actually, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if he can even play, to be honest. Yeah.
Because he's played... oh, no. He can. He can play. He can play because Napoli hasn't played European football. So, 100%. I believe that's the case. So, the next one, and that's obviously the comments tell us PSG, I'm going and you're going Man City. Absolutely love it. Feyenoord, Bayern Munich, me.
Bayern.
But pay attention to Santiago Jimenez, great goal scorer at Feyenoord, and the other brother of Julian Timber, Quinten Timber. Also, and Hanko, that we said it at the beginning of this episode. And Celtic, young boys?
Celtic, I like Celtic. I'll back Celtic.
I'll also go Celtic. Come on, boys in green. Arsenal, Dinamo Zagreb.
Arsenal haven't been in great form recently, but I still expect Arsenal to pick up the 3 points. So Arsenal.
Mate, imagine if they draw against Dinamo Zagreb. Imagine if Arsenal draw. No, I'm also going to say Arsenal to win this game. But wanted to just say, because we didn't say a lot in this video, must sign a goal scorer. 20 to 25 Premier League goals.
Yeah,
because Arsenal cannot have that ambition with Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, Trossard, Saliba now injured, next to Saka injured. There's no solutions, so they must sign a striker as a solution. Victor Osimhen, Benjamin Sesko, but more Osimhen I think is convincible at a good price. So wanted to mention that. Look how sad I'm talking about Arsenal. It's just the Arteta vibes. Ay. And last but not least, an AC Milan against Girona, finishing with Calcio, Luca.
Look, I think Conceição has been very good with Milan. The only loss was against Juventus, so I think AC Milan will bounce back here.
And if Milan wins the next 2 games, they're going to finish top 8, I believe, in the Champions League. That can happen, okay, with Sergio Conceição just arriving. So, and pay attention to Arnau Martinez, great fullback at Girona, okay? So, tell us down below, do you agree or disagree with our Champions League predictions? Like this video, it tells us that you love these types of videos. And I believe that we're going to get more right than wrong. Okay, Luca? I think we did a really good job. I think we did a really good job. And now finishing episode 17, this is a great topic and just an update for the fans. And it's who is the best player in each league? We're talking about the Prem, the Bundesliga, the La Liga, the Serie A, and the Portuguese league. Because the French league, who's watching the French league currently? Nah, I'm joking. João Neves, Gonçalo Ramos, Nuno Mendes, you got great players. And there's a lot of great signings for the other leagues to do in the French league. Examples of N'Golo Kante, Riyad Mahrez, many more, okay? Many more players. So, starting here with a big boy league, Premier League, the best player in the Premier League, I'll go with Mo Salah.
Yeah, I think Salah, I think you mentioned it earlier, top 2 is Salah and Cole Palmer. So it's between them two. Look, I love Palmer. I actually prefer Palmer as a footballer, but Salah's been arguably the best player in the world this season. So Salah.
But Erling Haaland with that salary, come on! He's just saying to the world in terms financially, I have to be the best player in the Premier League. Do you think he'll have a better season, Erling Haaland, than the one he had in his first season at Man City in the next 2-3?
He could. He's one of the best goal scorers I've seen in my life, so I wouldn't put it past him. I think with his contract now, if he was to remain at City for that whole period, he'll definitely surpass Alan Shearer's goal tally, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does beat his record.
May Erling Haaland surpassing Alan Shearer, I think that can happen too. And obviously, in terms of his career and Man City, that would change the course of history. He would be the biggest Man City player ever. Wow,
Yeah,
ahead of
for sure,
Agüero,
for sure.
David Silva, Yaya Torre, so many other names. So yes, I'm going to go with Salah and Cole Palmer too. Now, La Liga, for me, the best league in the world. Is my personal favorite to watch. Who's the best player in La Liga? Is it Vinicius Junior?
Look, the best player in La Liga, the best footballer there is Mbappe. But of form, it's between Rafinha and Lamine for me. And I'll go... It's so hard. I prefer Lamine Yamal, of course, but I think Rafinha you know what? I'm going to go Rafinha just because, like, his development as a footballer going from last season into this season has been so impressive. The way he's improved, especially with his finishing. I think he's become a lethal finisher. And Lamine was amazing last season. He's just continuing that amazing form and building upon it, improving. But I'm going to go Rafinha. But yeah, for me, the best footballer is still Mbappe.
You can see my smile, mate. You can see my smile because I'm going to go with Lamine. I know I'm being a bit biased with Wonderkid and everything like that, but I think Lamine Yamal, what he does on the pitch, doesn't translate in numbers. And yes, Mbappe, Rafinha, there's going to be seasons that maybe they'll have more goal involvements. But honestly, I think Lamine Yamal, for what he's showing already, he's the best player in La Liga, and he's the second best winger in world football, only behind Mo Salah because he's in elite form. But Lamine Yamal, best player in La Liga, and Mbappe, you arrived in La Liga, and now just like in the Euros, you're gonna be bullied by Lamine Yamal. You can clearly see it when he scores in the Supercopa. Lamine just scores another one and begins that remontada, inspires his teammates, inspires Pai Kubarzi. That midfield, I really think we're witnessing history with Lamine. So 2025, I wouldn't be surprised if top 3 Ballon d'Or, Lamine is there smiling, or even with the trophy, if huge, this is so bold, Lamine and Barca win the Champions League, the first time in 10 years that they would do so. That can happen, mate. It's not that crazy.
Yeah, no, they're up there with the favourites. If Lamine can stay healthy and they keep away from the injuries, that players.
They bullied Real, they bullied Bayern Munich, so let's see. Second in the Champions League currently. Now, Serie A, come on, who is the best player in Serie A? This is a very tough question.
So hard, yeah, this one's so hard because there's not one that stands out, in my opinion, like a Salah in the Premier League or something. It depends what you value it as well, Alex, because like...
True.
I look at defenders, I think Bastoni, he's arguably the best centre-back in the world this season. So you could go Bastoni quite easily.
True.
Di Marco's the best wing-back in the world, in my opinion. So he's up there, you know. Kenan Yildiz has been fantastic this season. I think he's the biggest talent in the league. I think there's no doubt about that.
Nico Paz, biggest talent, no?
No, Yildiz, Kenan. He's a chosen one, man. Get out of here with Nico Paz.
Not Chico Sessão. I'm joking.
Kenan. But look, I think... because I think I did a ranking actually on my TikTok not long ago of the top 10 players in the league, and my top 3, my top 4 were, my top 5 actually, because I got a bigger one, was Cambiaz, of course, because that's my cover. Everyone knew that was covered anyway. No, but I had Kenan, I had Rafa Leão, I had Kvaratskhelia, and I had Dybala still. Because I think when Dybala's still on hot form, he's up there, there's no doubt about it. If he can stay healthy, he's Roma's best player. He's their biggest goal threat. The only reason that Roma are somewhat doing well now is because of Paolo as well. Rafa, when he wants to play football, there's no doubt about it. He's one of the best players in the world. Kvicha, for me, was the best player in the league. I thought he was just, as a pure winger, he had everything. You know, he was a goal threat inside the box, outside the box. He was pretty two-footed. He was skillful. He was amazing, but he's no longer in the league. You know what, Alex? I'm going to go with Bastoni. I just think he's one of the best centre-backs in the world. He would play for any team. He's very, very technical, left-foot centre-back. I'll go Bastoni is the best player in the league.
We agree.
Really?
I'd say Bastoni. Leão is not in his best form. And a shout-out to Retegui, too. Between Lookman and Retegui, both have been instrumental for this Atalanta team. So I think it's very justifiable to say what you just said. Yes, completely agree. Maybe a shout to Ederson of Atalanta, of course. Atalanta wouldn't be in their position without Ederson playing in such a good way, and maybe Marcus Thuram also having a great season I think
he's the best striker in the league, Thuram.
Lukaku, no, with Conte.
No way, man. This is like the goal. Honestly, the goal involvements are impressive, but if you look at how he's playing with Napoli.
Lukaku, he's not playing that bad. He's not
playing that bad, but they can't rely on him. I promise you that.
In terms of goals, no. But in terms of associating with other players, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a debate.
he's a big drop-off from Osimhen. Like, I still think...
Oh, yes.
He's not... Look, I've spoken to my friends that are Napoli fans. I've watched Napoli a lot this season. Lukaku, with Conte, of course, is a great striker. His goal involvements aren't impressive on paper, but he misses a lot of big chances still.
True.
And he's not... In my opinion, he's not the Lukaku that we saw at Inter in the league. It's a big drop-off, let's say.
I think the Osimhen Napoli player is a better technical finisher than Lukaku. With his left, with his right, his first touch. I think that. And I also agree with your friends completely. So comment down below who do you think is the best of La Liga, Premier League, and Serie A. And like this video until now. Now, the last two. This is one that I'm going to be controversial for some because maybe you have English bias. I don't know. Bundesliga. Who's the best player in the Bundesliga, Luca?
The best player, ability-wise and on paper for me is Jamal Musiala or Verts. Them two are the best talents in the league, and I think give it 5 years, we're going to see their growth as footballers, and there's no doubt about it, they're going to be some of the best players. Well, they already are some of the best players in the world, but they're only going to improve. However, maybe your form... Of course, Kane's still there, top scorer in the league, but you got to go probably off form Marmoush just because of his top assist man. He's second top scorer in the league. Now he's gone to City, though. So does that count? He's not officially a Bundesliga player,
Until now, 24 goal involvements, we can say Omar Marmoush. But if it's not Omar Marmoush, who's the best player in the Bundesliga, Luca?
I think Jamal Musiala.
Mate, that's bold. Bayern fans, this is Foxtrot Jamal Musiala. For me, for Bayern Munich... as important as maybe a Joshua Kimmich or Lise. I love what you're stating. Jamal Musiala deserves that respect. But for me, it's completely incorrect to say that Harry Kane is the best player in the Bundesliga because the flow man, Florian Wirtz, exists with Xabi Alonso. 18 games, 9 goals, 8 assists. He was the leader of a team that won for the first time in his boyhood club, the league, unbeaten for the first time in Bundesliga history. Florian Wirtz, for me, is the best player in the Bundesliga, and his worst enemy is ACL injuries, in my opinion. So keep going, Florian Wirtz. And I love the decision that he says to the world, I'm staying with Bayer Leverkusen until the World Cup. If it's true, I love what Florian Wirtz is doing because he's still so young. Just like Jamal Musiala, Xavi Simons, this new generation, he doesn't need to go crazy now. So, good decision, Florian Wirtz, and tell us down below if you agree. Now, the last one, the Portuguese league, showing my bias. Just wanted to mention a bit. The best player in the Portuguese league. Who would you say from your perspective, Luca?
Of course, Gyökeres, I would say, Alex.
In England, mate. How this is for me so interesting. How much is Victor Gyökeres talked in England now, currently?
A lot. In the media, on social media, he's spoken about a lot in England around links to the Premier League. Of course, Arsenal potentially, Manchester United potentially, and I think his numbers are an absolute joke. I think he is one of the most prolific strikers in Europe right now, and I think this summer, I think he'll make that big move into one of the biggest clubs in Europe, and I think he'll go to the Premier League. He's very good.
Arsenal, Man United, all of them have to go 100% Victor Gyökeres. For me, honestly, I saw Falcao, I saw Jean as a Benfica, but Victor Gyökeres is my favorite striker I've ever seen in the Portuguese league. And whoever signs him, they're getting a cold player that wants to be one of the best strikers and the best player in the world. You can feel it. Even with the celebration that I stated, this is the most iconic celebration behind the sea. I forgot about the Cole Palmer too. So rank whoever has the best celebration of all three. But I just think this one is the most simpler. It's the simplest to do. And a stadium all being masked. It's like, whoa.
Yeah,
it's incognito. Cool. It's cool, exactly.
It's cool.
So
we can't forget the OG mask, which will always be the best.
Paulo Dybala. Paulo Dybala.
Mask.
Also another iconic celebration. So yes, if you're watching until now, thank you so much for watching. Comment who's the best player in each of these leagues. Luca, you went so bold in this podcast. Big topics, big moments. Big sharpness too. Your camera quality is great, mate. I love to see it. And the ball knowledge too, you're leveling up to. JFTV Luca, what you went bold in this episode 17. Thank you so much for talking with me about football, the beautiful game. And yes, is there a last message you want to do, Luca?
Anytime, Alex. Thanks for having me on, as always. My last message, guys. I'm just hoping Cambiaso doesn't leave Juventus. So Andrea, don't go anywhere, man. That's it. That's my last message.
Thank you so much for watching until now, and thank you for going bold, community.